Testing. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Gary Lamb, bringing relevant content on life, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. And we are here yet again with Matters of Opinion, Walls P and Erica P. And we also have the sensational Lady Lamb joining into this live. What up, everybody?
Did you just say sensational? Hey, y'all.
What is going on, my brother? What is going on? What up, Lady Lamb? What up, Erica P? How's everybody doing in the YouTube space, Rumble space, Facebook space, wherever you guys are at? How is everybody doing this evening?
I'm awesome. How about you guys?
Hey.
Hey.
All right.
Doing well.
Well, y'all see the title, okay? And we're bringing it back to the mothers. And I know a lot of mothers don't like to hear this, and I get all that. I totally understand that. But numbers don't lie, people lie. And we have some numbers that we're going to be bringing to the table, to the forefront when it comes down to the issues that our communities are having, especially in the Black community. This is what we are passionate about. Well, at least this is what I'm passionate about. And I want to talk about these issues until we fix these issues. Hopefully we can bring some solutions to these issues, but the awareness itself, it has to be said, because it seems like, I don't know about you, Wilds, but it feels like we've been beating a dead horse for the last, 15, 20 plus years, and it seems like it's falling on deaf ears. Am I right with that assessment, or am I just way off?
No, you're partially right with the assessment, but I do think you have a crowd that is listening, and I do think you have people that are taking heed to it. Because let's be real, the younger generation, I believe they're not really gonna listen to it because they're young. They're like, yo, I'm living my best life or whatever. But when it comes to the older generation, like the 30 and up, as far as women go, I believe that they're actually taking heed to this information and they're trying to make the necessary changes in their life. Even women that were 304s, when they get older, even though people say, yo, they've been ran through the whole nine, whatever the case may be, I do believe they try and make those necessary adjustments to try to find that, husband, start a family, whatever the case may be. And like I said, even though they have ran through, at the end of the day, we always say, yo, it's never too late to make those changes in your life. So there's a market for it.
Yeah,
Somebody,
absolutely.
So
what up, school?
Go ahead. Say what's up. Go ahead. Give me a shout out.
I said, what up, school?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Pretty much it is a market for it, but like I said, I would rather you make that change. No, well, let me rephrase. I would rather you not bring any kids into the situation, live your 304 life or whatever, and then when you have that enlightening moment and you want to make those changes, that's when you go that route and decide to bring a child into the equation.
Well, what do you
That
think Planned Parenthood was supposed to do?
yeah,
I mean, that
that
was
is
pretty
true.
much the whole point of Planned Parenthood. And I got a couple of things that I'm going to have to say today that might piss a couple of people off. I mean, I really think it's going to piss a couple of people off because we can sit
Oh
here
yeah.
and yell and scream and shout and say, "Oh, Margaret Singer and her horrible way of being," but who's running around, robbing Amazon trucks, you know what I mean? Who's running around robbing FedEx trucks? Who's running around looting stores and going to freaking uh iPhone stores and Apple stores and taking all the daggone dummy, I mean, stealing stinkers and stuff, like who's doing all this stuff? You know what I mean? Like I mean, there's a whole lot of reason why uh the upper class will say, you know what, enough of this. Let's plop a McDonald's in their environment as much as we possibly can to snuff them out. You know what I mean? So a lot of people may not want to hear that, but I understand why they're trying to eradicate a lot of us. It will make sense if we're not getting the picture, we're not figuring it out, we're not working out our own problems, then you segregate them so they can't harm everybody. You put them in that one environment and hope for the best. I mean, that's why you have all the fast food and all the, processed foods and
Hmm.
bad health care. And, what I'm saying? I mean, it makes sense at this point. When you sit here and listen to what Scott Adams said, it's like, damn, I can't argue with you. I want to argue with you because what you said was horribly sucky. But, bruh, I mean, if it seems like they're not going to listen, they're going to keep down this destructive path. What else do you expect us to do? Like, we can't just, you know what I mean? What is it that we can do to stop this kind of stuff?
The first thing you can do to stop this kind of stuff is move out of those areas. Because let's face it, man, when it comes to the hood or impoverished areas, the projects, those people tend to love to stay in those environments. They have no aspirations or thoughts of getting out of those situations. They really don't. You know, that's like that's home for them. That's what they're comfortable with. That's their safe place, you know? Um, but at the end of the day, I agree with keep those people in those locations and let them deal with each other. Now, on the flip side, where the cycle of this process comes into place of not making changes, so to speak, is you do have good families who just don't have the means to get out of these situations, or they're trying to fight to get out of these situations. The problem that I have is in these families, we all know women want aspirations of more and more and more. They will talk to the young kids, their daughters and everything, and tell them, hey, focus on your education, get this, do that, whatever. And that's what they're pounding into their head to make these moves or whatever. The problem is they're not really putting on top of that list, building a relationship and family. They're not putting that onto that list. And I believe that's doing us disservice to the women that are growing up in these environments. And on top of those things of, focusing on family, I mean, not focus on family, focusing on your education, this, that, and the third, they kind of shield them from their upbringings, their hardships, the roles that they might have played, and the bad relationships that they might have ran into before they found their husband. Or you have the ones that are single, raising, little girls, single parent homes, and they're shielding them from all the negative stuff that they might have did and only put that perspective on men, so to speak, and make them wind up growing up like, yo, I don't like men, think the worst of men, and I'm just going to focus on my careers, yada, yada. And with all this, they're not building any relationship status. They're not building how to work with people. They're not building none of those skills, no feminine traits, only masculine traits is what they're picking up and learning. And it's sad because even if you look at single parent homes with men, we tend to tell our children both sides of the spectrum. We tend to tell them, hey, even though you're focusing on, keep your mind off them girls and focus on the education, whatever, this, that, and the third, we still tell them, hey, if you do find that girl, hold on to her, yada, yada. We teach both sides of the spectrums. If we messed up, we say, hey, I don't want you to walk down this path that I did because I messed up. So we don't sugarcoat or try to shield them from things. We try to educate them under our guidance so that they don't make either the same mistakes we did or they can identify said problem and know how to navigate. And I think that's where mothers are failing these daughters. They're only teaching them one side of the spectrum and make everything seem like it's peach, all gravy, so to speak, and that's not the case. So now when they go out into the real world, and let's face it, when it comes to emotions, you have no controls over them. If you find a boy and you go boy crazy, all that stuff that she taught you goes out the window. And everything she taught you was one-sided. She didn't show you how to control them feelings, how to analyze this, how to analyze that. So you might wind up making some bad decisions. Next thing you know, now that little girl is bringing a child into the world. So I
I
think
don't know what
mothers
kind
need
of
to
mothers y'all be talking about.
I think mothers
Well,
need to
Erica,
prep kids more.
Erica, you can't put yourself into it because that's not what's going on as a whole. There are women out there that are not teaching their daughters the proper protocol in order to
Wait,
build a successful family.
and I understand that, but y'all keep lumping all women together. And the problem is, you can't say, hey, women aren't teaching them when you have people that have progressively taught their children and they have successful relationships and marriages. It's not always the case. And it doesn't matter how much I may teach my kid or may ingrain all of the stuff, it is still up to that child when they become an adult if they choose to listen to the stuff that I instilled too.
And that's why we lump all women in together because you guys think on a collective level. If you telling your daughter not to do say XYZ and you send her into the world where the vast majority of women are doing XYZ, guess what tends to happen for your daughter? She begins to do XYZ. All right. So we have to put women in that position because they're the ones putting all that information out there. We're trying to combat it the best way we can, but they don't tend to listen to us in the first place, right? So if I'm saying the vast majority of mothers who's teaching their children, their daughters, how to be women in this country, and they're making it harder for the women that don't want to be that. Like, for example, let's look at the women that are virgins, which is not a large percentage. Okay, let's just start there. All right, those women are pretty much thrown to the side of the world because nobody's like, well, I'm not about to sit here and bust my butt and be celibate for XYZ and because wait for marriage when a lot of men are already being taught not to get married at all because of what's going on in this culture. And then the only ones that they have to pick from are the 304s or the up and coming 304s. Right? It's like it is still a collective effort. Can you agree with that?
I can agree somewhat. And the reason that I agree somewhat is because think about it. If I am, let's say I was the virgin, right? Maybe I'm not the one that they're checking for. So because I don't date women, I don't know that side of the aspect. But in my head, it's no, you keep your virginity as long as possible. You make sure that you're in a meaningful relationship, possibly marriage is the end goal. Is that happening for everybody? No, that is not the case. You got what, 10, 12% of women who even graduate college who are still a virgin. Because 9 times out of 10, most of these people is losing it as a kid in high school. So no, you can't tell me you're lumping a I'm gonna say a 21-year-old virgin in the same boat as a 16-year-old. Unfortunately, that's what you have to do. But then it's like, okay, what kind of meaningful relationship did that 21-year-old have? Maybe they was too focused on school. Maybe they was too focused on a career at that point. So yes, it happens, but they're not the outlier right now. They're the unicorn right now. And they're the
But
unicorn because sex sells in this industry right now. So if
but
all you see are the TV shows that show you half naked women, what do you think is going to be the case? And then you're
Well,
hearing
there's
men
those
tell
those
you,
half naked. Wait a minute. Those half naked women are mothers. Those television shows are being shown in single mother households. Those women who are pushing this stuff are women. Okay, if you don't show up, we can't cast you. All right, so that is still a you thing. You're doing it.
correct. But when you start looking at what it is, for some reason, the most ratchet women on these shows are the ones that's making bank. The ones that are wholesome and classy and all of that kind of stuff, they're not making bank.
Because they're being overshadowed by the ones that's
Correct.
being trashy. And this is what I'm trying to say. This is why I'm lumping you guys in. You're not policing your shit. All right. You're not. And until you do, you all are listen, if there was a whole bunch of grapers running around and y'all say y'all need to put a handle on this, we will sit there and say, you know what? You're right, we'll get it. We say the same thing to you, and you say, well, you can't lump us in together, and that's your problem. Y'all don't want to be lumped into the same stuff, but guess what? Y'all all are being seen the same way. Their passport bros are not leaving certain women alone. They're leaving all American women alone. So you
so
can argue that point all you want. You cannot stop what's happening. Men are telling you we're done with it.
And
So
guess what? But think about it. I can't stop it either. If it's on television, that's not me putting it on television, right?
but
no, it's
And if
not
I'm
you
not
but
a
putting
but
it on
consumer of it,
but
that
television.
means you're
but
not getting
but
my view
but
either.
here's what Gary's trying to say. It's like when you see all these women that are doing these things, it's just, yo, that's not me, this, that, and the third. Y'all don't come out and like either try to change the narrative or do anything, like stand firm ground, like, yo, we're not gonna watch this, we're not gonna let our kids watch this, that, and the third. Y'all literally will entertain it, but just turn around and say it's not me. Like I remember going to the club as a youth, the song, there's some 4 3s in this house, you know, the club song, there's some
Mhm.
age in this house. Women will be dancing to it like a mother and just turn around and say, that's not me, so I'm gonna still rock to it. Whereas men, on the other hand, when we hear the song Scrubs, I don't want no scrub, hanging on the passenger side, men are like, okay, that means I got to step my game up and not be on the passenger side so I don't fall into that category. Either that or they're just going to accept it like, yo, I'll be a scrub. I'm still going to, pull the women I can, yada, yada, and try to step their game up, so to speak. But men will at least take action to either not fall in this category, upgrade themselves from this category, speak to their kids like, yo, don't fall in this category, get your focus on your education, get that money, learn a trade, yada yada, so that you don't fall into this category.
Mhm.
Because if you want to date women and find a wife, yada yada, son, you got to be able to secure yourself to make sure you can financially do this. You got to be able to do XYZ. We're teaching our sons and our family how to achieve greatness, to not fall into these categories. Whereas women will just be on some, yo, that's not me. And
But see what
no,
you fed but they do
go ahead.
though. So women like me speak up about it. We teach our children not to do these things. So yeah, it is that's not me and I'm not supporting this foolery. So that's where the disconnect is. Everybody's like, "Oh, well you still no, I don't watch the stuff." Now I'm not going to say at one point I didn't, because at one point I did watch the stuff until I realized what was happening. When I started going, "Oh, you're a show about wives and you're not showing wives?"
Wait,
No, I'm
wait,
not
wait,
watching
wait,
it.
wait. Did you say that you used to watch this stuff?
I did. At one point, I
Wait,
watched Basketball Wives. And like I said,
Wait, wait,
yes,
wait,
I
wait,
was a
wait, wait.
different person then.
Thank you. There you go. You was a different person then. That's what
Correct.
I'm saying. If you're women are rebellious people, all right, they are a rebellious species. Okay, so you getting the proper teaching at home goes out the window when you're set free. Oh, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm gonna listen to what I want to listen to, and I'm gonna be who I want to be, and nobody could tell me nothing. Da, 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 da. This is why so many passport bros say, do not bring these women back home. You keep them where you got them. Don't bring them here because they get tainted by what, because it's the forbidden fruit is amazing at what it does. It's amazing at what it does. So you come here, and then next thing you know, 5 years later, you done made a mistake, you got a kid or two now, and now you're saying, well, I want to be a wholesome woman now. I made a few mistakes. I want to be a wholesome woman. But wait a minute, men ain't checking for me because there's so much competition out here that they look at me as, a higher risk relationship, because that's what men do. We look at you as a higher risk relationship. You
Which,
then
and I
get bitter.
understand that. I understand that wholeheartedly. But guess what? I wasn't a 304. I
No,
didn't
I'm
live
not
that
saying you
lifestyle.
were,
So,
but what I'm saying is that you get categorized as one. If
Mhm.
you're in the club, you are a 304. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a virgin. You are a 304 to me until you proved me wrong. And I'm not
see,
going to give you the time
and,
to do so
and
if
that's
I'm
what I was going to.
already avoiding.
But think about it though. That's like me categorizing every guy that's in the club too, going, "Hey, you in the club just like I'm in the club. That means you in here for the same reason. Are you here to listen to music? Or are you here to drink? Because that's the
I'm
thing. I
here
may
to
be
have
in
fun, just like I
correct,
think you're here to do, to have
correct.
fun. We know why we go to the club. Amen. Right? We all know why we go to the club. What we go to the club for? We don't go to the club for no damn music. We go to the club to smash. We all
But
know it.
but see, that's not what everybody go to the club for. That's the
It
problem.
doesn't matter. That's the whole point of that's the meeting ground of the club. You going to the club. All right. I go to the church with freaking Christoph Thompson. Oh, party up in it. Come on. Come on. Let's be real. Why do you go to church? You don't go to church to pop bottles.
I go to church to fellowship.
You
So that's what
cannot
you
go
go
to
to
the
church
club
for.
get on open mic night and say, I want to talk to you about Jesus.
You
What?
could. You could. They may laugh you off the stage, but you could.
Walking there with your Bible. What's wrong with that?
Real quick, I wanted to jump in about what Walls was saying in the beginning about these women who take on these masculine, um, even masculine traits, but like
Mhm,
say they're these single mothers, and because this is a major issue. Like, okay, we're married up here, but not the vast majority is not, especially in our community. So the biggest thing that you were talking about was the in the hood, quote unquote, or even in the hood. Not everyone in the hood has the poverty mindset, but a good majority
mhm,
does. And that is one of the major issues here, because you could leave the hood or whatever the case, but still have a impoverished mindset, and that mindset is equating and getting meshed together with this modern woman mentality. So if you put both of them together, you have chaos and a mess, which is what we're all dealing with now. So when you have these women that are talking about, well, that they're a boss chick, whatever that what is, and they're doing their thing, and there is me, myself, and I type of mentality, because that's also a poverty mentality, very selfish, very just whatever we could get, our for no more, whatever the case, and putting that into one one area, one particular category. Then what are they teaching these girls? The girls of today are replicating, they're making a replication of that mentality. So it's like what we're dealing with. No, I say it all the time, like, I don't know who y'all talking about. That is not me. It's not. So I mean, even when Gary and I, we lived our life and did our thing, even like, all right, we gonna go to the jazz club, like this is not our like, even that, like, you can, it just, and again, we all, hopefully, we, in life, we supposed to, we all evolve. So, and it's all good. But at the end of the day, th- for the most part, unfortunately, in this climate and in this country is like the vast majority, all the men are seeing is women under one umbrella, women with the me, myself, and I mentality, and now are putting in all the women under that umbrella, even though that's not the case, because of these women that are having taking these masculine traits. When I say masculine, like, okay, you're a female, you're a natural born female, and we all have our grace and we all have our lane. Like, work your lane. Why are you replicating and telling the girls? See, it's a fine line between telling the girls, listen, get your education, do what you need to do to survive, rather than saying, do what you need to survive, in and up into excluding men. You don't need them. It's not the same message. And they're mixing the whole message together and like muddying the waters, to where these girls are going out and they're replicating these shows. They're replicating what they see out today. So when the men look at them, they're like, oh, you one of them. And even though that may not be the case, they don't have the patience anymore to even stick around long enough to care to try and find out if you're different now. They don't care enough anymore. And it's
Right.
because of that, like you were saying earlier, that mentality of, you're not like, and one other thing you said about these women, especially if they have sons, but we're talking about the daughters, but not, I'm gonna just throw this out there, right? Since if they know they was a 304, however long, did their thing out there in them streets, whatever, and they, hopefully they're not doing that in front of the kids, but say if they're not, a lot of time these mothers, a lot of time they don't want to tell the girls what they were doing, truthfully, for fear that they're gonna be exactly how they were. So they don't keep it real with their daughters and like, look, don't do this, and this, because mommy did this. And this was the repercussion. This is what happened. That's how you got here. No, it's do what I do, not as I say. And now the girls, it really don't make a difference, because what do they see them doing? Twerking, making videos, doing stuff that they shouldn't do in front of them anywhere, or overhearing grown folks' conversation. It's all, for the most part, I'm saying, yes, there's a select few that's not like that. But that's not what you're seeing today. That's what I'm saying. We're not seeing a lot of that. It's a Saturday night. We're not seeing a lot of this conversation. It's happening, but the vast majority is with the rest of them. That's the issue. You know,
I agree.
Well, do you want to
What do
handle
you?
that? What is a 304?
A 304 is a whore.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it. That's the easiest way I could tell you what a 304 is
Yeah,
without putting my foot in my mouth.
it's a female that definitely do it for the money. And we're starting, a lot of men are labeling the vast majority of women 304s, because it almost seems like that's how it is. Like, this transactional climate that we're in, which, we can argue who came first, the egg or the chicken on this. We can argue that to it in blue in the face. But at the end of the day, that's where we're dealing with. And I think a lot of men, I'm just going to speak personally on this one. I'm going to use I statements on this one. When I look at a woman, the last thing I care about is her body count. I don't care. Okay. I don't care about her last relationship. I don't care. I'm not that dude. You know what I mean? I know how to bring the femininity out of a woman. I've done it. So I'm not really worrying about who she was as much as I'm focused on who she wants to be. And if she wants to be that person, I can help her get there, right? We can go through couples counseling and individual counseling and have these long drawn out conversations, and we'll find a way to make it work. The problem comes along when you start looking at me with all these need to haves, when you don't have anything that I want up front other than your body, which you've already given to someone for free. So when I look at you start coming at me with transactional conversation, I'm like, wait a minute. You got a kid, you have a nasty sketchy past, you have a high body count. That's the only time it starts coming in. It's like because let's be honest, man, most men don't really care about that stuff. All right. When a man comes along, my wife and I, we was just watching this short the other day. Where I think it was Fresh and Fit was saying, when a man gets a lot of money, he said, "Oh, great! Now I could take care of a woman. Let me go get a woman." When a woman says, when a woman makes a lot of money, she said, "Oh, great! I don't need a man anymore." That's the mentality. And it's like, so if I do want to be with a man, he has to come with the bag, the buggy, the horse, the freaking, you know what I'm saying? He got to come with all this extra stuff because you still want a man to be better. Then turn right around and say you want equality. I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want me to be better, but you want equality too. How is my pocket going to be fatter than yours when I have to share what I'm making with you? Right? It just don't make any sense to me. That right there is where the whole buts when men come on, like, you got 2 kids, right? You're 40 years old. You know what I mean? If you want to throw transactional out there, baby girl, you are the last one. I should be looking at a 19-year-old if this is transactional. I shouldn't be looking at you. Right. And that's a lot of that right there is hard for women to handle and understand. You can't win on the transactional level. You will lose all the time because there's always a younger, more fitter model that I can go get that don't have the high price tag as you.
I got to give a little bit of pushback, right? Because listening to this conversation, can we actually fully blame the mothers for this? The reason why I say can we actually fully blame the mothers for this, because we literally just said if you find like you become a passport bro and you find a woman overseas who was brought up the right way, the right mentality and all that, learned to, family, the hierarchy and all this stuff, playing her role as far as her femininity, taking care of the kids, all of that. You bring them over here and they wind up it's a chance that they can be contaminated with the general consensus of how women operate nowadays. So can we honestly put that fully on the mother if you're saying that somebody who's never been exposed to this has the possibility of being contaminated by these women? Because that
Fast
tells
money.
me that tells me that that's really a societal thing, so to speak, because you can
Who
like
raised the
you've had
society?
huh?
Who's raising this society?
Who you said who's raising the
Who's
society?
raising this society?
Mothers, the schools, the television, tons of things is raising the society.
Okay, who controls all that? Who's the biggest spenders of all of that?
Women are the
Thank
biggest
you.
spenders.
It
But
still falls on the mothers. It
but
still falls on
but
women.
see, I
But you
think
can't only
I think that number is kind of murky when it comes to big spenders, because when it comes to literally saying that women are big spenders, that's college debt. That's educational debt
No, no, no,
that
no, no,
they're the
no.
big
That's not
spenders
college
on.
debt. That's college debt. That's credit card debt. That's all kinds of spending. They have a big spending block. See, they are you have to understand, advertisers are very, very smart. What up, Lawrence? Advertisers are extremely smart. They got this thing licked. Okay. They know how to market to women. All right. All you
Mhm.
have to do is put the money in women's hand and they will throw it away. They will blow it. All right. So the driving force is based upon capitalism, right?
Mhm.
Capitalism is based on building turning a profit. It's hard to turn a profit with men because men tend to save. Men tend to
nope,
build for
That's
yes, they
nope,
not
do.
not
necessarily
the
true,
case,
Barry.
sir.
I gotta give
Not the
pushback.
case.
I
Okay,
gotta
okay,
give
yeah, right,
pushback.
right, right. Not today, not today. And why is that, Erica? Who is raising these men? Who's raising these men?
Their mothers, and if
Think
their
okay,
fathers are there, their fathers.
if their fathers is
But
not there, we already know them fathers aren't there.
but
Y'all are
think
yelling,
about it though.
screaming, and shouting at us about
Mm-mm.
not being there.
But this is the pushback, right? You said women are the biggest spenders. No, because if you're telling me men make the most money, who do you think is going to spend more? It's going to be the men. It
What?
is.
No, men do not. Oh, no,
Yes,
no, no,
they
no,
do.
no,
Think
no, no,
about it,
no.
right? Think about it. If a man wants a woman, he has to do what? He got to buy a car, He had to buy a house. Those are big ticket
Those are
items.
all assets.
It doesn't
Even
matter
even
though.
even the
It's
car is,
still debt.
it's a depreciating asset, it's still an asset.
It's still
You
a debt
guys
though.
don't have tangible assets. You guys spend money on clothes, pocketbook, shoes, and makeup and hair. You can't get a return on that.
But guess what though? Think about the way the market is running. All of those assets do not always equate to having the return back on them either. So
I
you
can
wanted
get
to
to
pay
work with my car. I can get to school with my car. I can go get money
okay.
with my car. That is an asset. What can you do with your wig?
Well, guess what? This girl ain't buy a wig and don't buy wigs
That
and
is, I'm
haven't
not
bought
talking
wigs.
about you.
And
Okay,
but
what
I
can
get that. But
women do
but
with the
that's the
wig?
thing though. You're
Look,
throwing
this
apples and
is
apples. You're
this
telling
is
me
what
men make the most money. That means the money's going to spend, right?
this is
You telling me
this is
that women are going to be the ones to spend it, but if you're telling me these guys are not choosing women or taking it elsewhere, the money still got to go because if they don't spend it here, they're going to spend it on them trips to go other places. They're going to spend it somewhere. So no, their money's going just as fast as the women's money does. It just goes in different profiles.
My
this is
phone is
what
6 years old. My ex-girlfriend's phone is 6 months old.
but Gary, this is what you got to understand. We're talking about the general consensus. I hear more stories when it comes to following sports, when it comes to following celebrities, when it comes to following people who have wealth. I hear more stories and very few stories of. Let me start. Let me run it back. I hear more stories of men going broke that had successful careers, whether it's the NBA, the NFL, a movie star, artist, rapper, whatever the case may be. These people, these men that have money and blow it all. People that win the lottery, men blow it all. I've seldom hear stories of women that run into X amount of money or they gain status with money and they wind up going broke. I never hear
I
that.
have no idea why that stat even makes it in this conversation.
The
We're
reason
talking
why
about
that's
it.
that
We're talking about a skill that you can't just transfer over. You can't transfer that skill over. Once you're done in sports, you're done. And if you've been making millions of dollars and you didn't cultivate your skill set, of course you're going to lose that money. You can't hold on to that money, especially with the lifestyle that these men would you living. We're not talking about the
but
regular, skill building man, right? Who is not like that. These men traditionally build wealth. The older they get wealth,
I'm gonna look
okay,
at
so
this
then
on
and it's
surface.
passive wealth. By the way, it's not you know work is passive wealth.
I don't. I'm gonna just look. I look at it surface. Like not. I'm not that deep into the passive wealth and the. I mean, understand completely about it as far as longevity and generational wealth and all that. But just from the topic itself, that particular statement was that you were saying about men in the NFL and sports, and if they come into a large amount of money or whatever the case, their counterpart with the women. The way I take it is like the men they'll go broke for a woman. They'll go broke for to have
Boom.
that area in their life. They'll go broke because as far as what I've seen, because none of us really know none of these people, but the ones that have spoken up about their situation, for the most part, they've gone broke for some situation that they got themselves involved in with some woman. On the
but
other
Or
end, a good
or
majority of these women, they ain't going broke for these men. Not all of
see,
them. Now, some of them have. Sherry Shepherd, and the last time I heard any of these stories, because I don't follow them, but some of them have. But for the most part, it's usually the men that go broke.
yeah, the reason why the men are growing broke, it's not because of the women. The reason they're going broke is because they have men around them that don't have nothing and they feel like they can't leave them behind. So they're going to pay their bills, give them loans, all of this stuff. They're really helping out other men who can't pull their bootstrap up. They'll
Yeah.
give, yeah, look at MC Hammer. MC Hammer's a prime example. The reason why he
Hmm.
went broke was because he was helping out other men that didn't have anything.
He
Hmm.
went broke because
And,
he switched it. No,
Antoine
no. I
Walker.
disagree.
Antoine
I
Walker.
disagree. He went
Okay.
broke because he abandoned his base audience. He went and tried to with the pumps and the bumps. That was not his audience base. He alienated his audience. That's
Yes,
why he went broke. Yeah,
he
he spent a
he
lot of money, but he wasn't able to rebuild that money because he was trying to transfer over to the whole, slutty gangster rap stuff.
that's still fine, but you still had to expend your money somewhere. You had to go broke somehow. The reason why you went broke by lending people money, you couldn't recoup it, but you still went broke giving handouts to other people around you.
Okay, so
So if
okay, so are
so
we talking? Okay, so he went broke because that's another bad example because he went broke trying to help people, right? Women are
mhm.
going broke, and that women are not going broke; they're going into debt. They're going into debt, and you got a lot of men that don't do that that are broke because of child support and alimony.
But then you also have other men that are in debt because they're trying to live the life of the Joneses. They want the fastest cars, they want the biggest house. That's not women's status stuff. That's
But
them
that's what
choosing
women
those
want.
things.
That's what women demand and expect to demand to have. If he,
But
if
you can't blame the woman for what they chose.
Yep.
That's the problem. A house is a house. You could get a one-bedroom house or you could get a 20-bedroom house. When you start talking to people who are in those kind of lifestyles, no, a lot of times they didn't bought that stuff before the woman even came into the picture. So you can't blame women for some of this stuff. Yes, do women play a part? Yes. Do marketers market to women? Yes, because they think all women want makeup and the newest handbag and red bottoms and all of that stuff. Of course, it is all a game. It's, hey, people going to bring in some kind of money and they're going to have to try to get their piece of that money. So, yes, I understand the logic of the marketing, but you can't always blame women for the way the money trickles down. Because what if you do have that budget conscious woman who goes, look, we're only buying groceries and the necessities? Because you got women out there like that too, where they're putting everybody on a budget because they want to make sure that their family is good for the next 20 to 40 years. What about those kind of people? Because you went back to the, oh, well, you're the biggest spenders and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that may be the case, but that's not everybody. Just like you said, hey, you got men out there that's leaving the country to find these other women, not knowing, hey, it could be a front too. It could, because you never know what you're going out there for if you're not somebody that knows the culture, knows the language, knows you know, not everybody knows what they're getting themselves into. They're like, okay, let me play my part for 3 to 5 years. Because you got those batches of people too. I played my part 3 to 5 years. I got my green card. I done brought my family over here. Now I can dip off on you. And I get that's not the conversation that we're having right now. But I digressed on that one. The conversation was about mothers and are they failing the women of today? I'm gonna say no. And the reason that
you're going to say no,
I'm
okay.
going to say no, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why I'm gonna say no. I'm saying no because as a mother, my job is to keep you informed. If I kept you informed, I had open conversations with you, and you still chose to do something completely different. I'm sorry, boo. You grown at this point. Those are your mistakes that you have to make to figure out how to get back to where you need to be, because all I can do is what I can do. I can love you unconditionally. I can have these open and honest conversations with you. I could tell you, hey, if I failed out there doing this, I'm gonna let you know because I'm gonna be an open and honest person. But if you still, after I done gave you all of the knowledge, chose to do what you wanted to do, that meant you wanted to be the stubborn big head. You had to fail before you picked up. Because guess what? Everybody learns differently. You got the people who learn by other people's mistakes. Hey, I was that kind of person. So and so went out there. So and so got burnt by the stove. I'm not touching that stove because I just saw somebody already did it. So that's what kept me on the straight and narrow. But you're gonna have some other ones that's gonna have to go out there because it don't matter how many stories mama tell you, how many stories auntie tell you, how many stories grandma tell you. Once you decide you want to do what you want to do, or if I keep going, hey, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do this. Don't you know it's like reverse psychology on these kids? The minute I tell you no, don't do it, they go and be like, hey, I'm gonna run open arms to it. Because you get them kind of kids too. So no, all the times you can't blame the mom for the way these kids is acting. You get
They're the
kids who
only ones this is what I don't. Okay, so if the father's not there, who is to blame, Erica?
you keep giving me that narrative. I'm sorry, I don't know that narrative.
Of course, you
So
don't
I
know that narrative, but
so
that's
I
the
have to
narrative for
give you
that's the
my narrative.
narrative for the majority of our culture. That's the narrative. You keep going down to your narrative.
Correct,
Your
because
narrative is not, but that's what we're not talking about Erica. We're talking about mothers. You are
correct, because you're
you're
saying mothers and I am a mother. So I can only talk on
so here's the
what I
thing.
can give my kids.
Why is it that you can lump yourself up as a mother, but you can't lump yourself up as a black woman? Let me ask that question.
I never said that I wasn't a black woman. I am a black
What I'm
woman.
saying is that the vast majority of black women are doing these things. We went over the numbers earlier today, right? So if the numbers are showing that black women are causing these issues because men are not involved, you then turn right around and say, but you can't blame all mothers. And I'm like, okay, if if I take the word all out, can you agree with most?
Yes, I can
All
agree
right.
with most.
Okay,
But the
most
minute you
mothers is
say
doing this.
all, you
What?
always gonna get a
Okay,
pushback from me.
okay. And what about the women that don't call them consider themselves a part of that? Why aren't you guys taking the stand and talking about this in freaking droves? Because men are not able to do it by ourselves. They're not listening to us. They're silencing our voices.
You don't think they're silencing ours too? Because I speak up about it. I know Miss Lamb speaks up about it. We do our part, but we still get silenced. It doesn't matter how many church groups I talk at, how many people in passing I talk at, they will listen if they want to listen. But I'm gonna keep talking because guess what? That voice sometimes will resonate, which is why we have these conversations back and forth.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I mean, listen, being Gary Lamb's wife on and off this platform, and I done been called. I mean, it make no difference to me, but I done been called some of everything. And at the end of the day, like you said, I'm not gonna stop just because somebody called me name. What are we, 7? Like, it is what it is, you know. But people are going to do what they're going to do. We can't make anybody do anything, and I don't want to. You know. So yeah, I mean, I will say for the vast majority, I would have to agree only because originally we were talking about the poverty mindset. Like, for me, it's the mindset for me, because if you can't get to a person, but if for the sake of conversation, if you can't get to a mother, when it comes to her thought process when dealing with her children, then all you're going to have is more of the same. So I can tell them, look, and you're right, Erica, because I agree with that, but there are a lot of moms that don't approach parenting the same way. They don't approach it with this was what I did, so XYZ. It's don't do and hope for the best. And it doesn't go that way. Or you have the moms of today that live their best life in front of their daughters. So what do we expect them to do? They're little minions, mini-me's of them. They're little replicas of them, you know?
Well, and that's the hard part. There is no, hey, this is the parenting guide to be a good mom. They got, I guarantee you go look it up. They got thousands of books out there. Who's reading the books? Because a lot of them still be sitting in the library or sitting in a bookstore somewhere.
I mean, they're reading the book of our lives. They're reading what they see. They're reading these in the neighborhoods. They're watching what's the norm, and they're replicating the norm. They're replicating what they see their friends do in school, what they hear their moms doing in the kitchen, heckling around with their girlfriends when they
Correct.
should be doing something else. These kids are watching it. So
Correct.
what do they expect them to do?
And that's the thing though. Me being a mom, there's certain things my kids aren't privy to. Because in
Right.
my head, you're a child. That means you should be doing childlike things. Go get your homework done, go play your video games, go watch kid appropriate shows for your age group. No, I don't
Yeah.
need you watching the
See,
latest
but
Big
but
Brother. No, I
but
don't
I
need you.
disagree with that mentality of teaching, so to speak. The reason why I say I gotta disagree with that mentality of teaching is I would prefer to introduce my son to the more adult content type cartoons or
Boom,
shows, whatever, so I
boom.
can tell them, yo,
Mm-hmm.
this is what's wrong. When you
You
hear
can't
this
wait.
kind of talk, when you see these kind of behaviors, these are not acceptable. Because if I don't introduce them to it and they go to school and they hear the
They're
other
gonna learn
students
the
talking
wrong
about
thing.
it,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna learn the wrong things. I would
Mm-hmm.
rather teach you under my roof, under my
Mm-hmm.
tutelage, where I expose you to this stuff. So now I can shield you from it. I can show you what's the escape route
Mm-hmm.
so
Correct.
you don't succumb to this.
Which and I'm okay with that aspect too. But what I'm
But
saying is
with
it's age appropriate stuff.
Stop
I'm not
No,
that.
for
Wait a
me,
I'm
minute.
not
no,
That's
for
telling
the
you
me,
wait.
that
it's
That's the
not the age
problem
no.
I'm not
right
doing
there.
that
appropriate.
at
Right
3
there.
though.
That's
I'm
the
not
problem
telling
right
you the
there,
stuff
though.
at
Age
3. I
appropriate.
may tell you that stuff at 9, but I'm not going to
But
tell the same
Erica,
thing a
Erica,
9-year-old to a 4-year-old at this point either.
Erica, the world don't care how old you are to introduce you
You
to these
got
things.
cross dressers walking the earth right now. They don't give a damn that their 2-year-old don't understand what's the difference between a transgender and a regular woman. They don't care. All right. You're going to expose your children to this whether you like it or not. It's
Correct, which
out
we will
there.
have those conversations being age appropriate. I will tell my 2-year-old, "Hey, this is out there, but
But
the expectation is you're a little boy or you're a little girl, and this is how you dress because this is how we dress, and this is what we do in our house." Because I
I
can
who
think
is
only say what
and who
happens in my house. I can't tell you about what's happening outside my
I
house.
think that's the biggest thing though. There's both sides here in our homes and in our culture. That's not the case. There's majority of moms and just bringing the mom's point of view. That's why we need both because there's certain conversations that our boys, as much as they love their mom and they come and they talk to me, but not about everything. It's certain things that they'll only talk to their dad about.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? And that's
But
all good because it should
but daughters
this
do
the
the
point.
same
It
thing
should
though.
be that it should be that way though. Because they
Correct.
have to like Walls was saying, they have to be introduced to it with us where it's safe so that we can explain it to them so they don't get some off the wall explanation out there. You know how much stuff we found out on our own growing up in the 90s? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Forget
And
it.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. The
Oh,
people who are giving this information to your children have alternative motives. All
hmm
right.
Correct.
fact.
They are giving it to them so they can expose them to this stuff for their own benefit. You gotta understand, man. Like as a father, I see this stuff coming a mile away. I see it. I remember having these conversations with my wife, and it was tough having these conversations because do you think that's an appropriate thing to tell them? I say I think the word appropriate is inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? Because for you
Mhm.
to say to me that me raising my child to be aware of what they're going to ultimately run into, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I want them to be a chill child as long as they can be. And my thing is I want them to grow up as fast as they can because children get taken advantage of. So I want my kids not to grow up. Sure, they can still play with their rock'em sock'em
Mhm.
robots. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? But I also want them to know that Jimmy's mom ain't Jimmy's mom. It's really her dad. You know what I'm
I think
saying? And I want
I
them to be able to know that stuff.
I think the problem is mothers are thinking the more knowledge or education on a vast majority of things mean that they're losing their childhood, and that is not true. And the problem with age appropriate, to me, I can't believe in that concept only on the strength of kids grow up at different times, meaning your 6-year old could be more mature than your 8-year old. Your 9-year old could be
hmm
more mature than your 13-year old.
That's
Hell,
true.
Right.
freaking a
That's
freaking
true.
8-year old daughter at like the age of 6 or 7 was freaking growing like pubic hair.
Yeah. Every child
You
is
know,
different for
and on the
development.
verge of freaking having a period at 8 years old. Now,
Mhm.
measures were taken to stunt that, but that's what I'm saying. What is age appropriate? Because every child is different.
That's true.
Every child is different.
Yeah,
And
every child.
if you're speaking to your child, you can tell mentally how well they can handle things. Case in
Mhm.
point, my son, I literally told him since he's, 12, gonna be a teenager, I'm like, yo, one day when you go to sleep, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna have your sheets wet.
Mhm.
When this happens, I want you immediately to tell me you're not in trouble. Come to me and we're gonna have a conversation. And
Mhm.
then later down the line, when I reminded him, he said, "Is that because of puberty?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Why would he say because of puberty? You
That
had
It
because
to
was
he
have
growth.
hear
knows.
that.
I'm about to
It was
say
a
at
You
this
growth
had
point
to
he's
spurt.
have
probably
hear
heard
that
about
from a
it. Yep.
It
but
was
you
a
have to
growth
have
spurt.
hear that from an outside source.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So if I didn't have these conversations early,
Yeah.
that probably when it came to mind, and whoever said whatever could have told
Mhm.
them XYZ.
Yeah.
They could have told them
Especially.
anything they wanted.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Miss Blue.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. Like I agree with age appropriateness with the child. Like you said, you know what child could handle what. And
Mhm.
the biggest thing, I mean, that's one of the biggest things is that's all good if they're being homeschooled in their home. But if we have to expose them to anywhere outside, if they're going to a public school or even a private school, if they're going outside of our home, then we got to tell them because it's no telling what they're told once they leave our door. So to prepare them, they have to know, you know.
And I just want to say this. I get it, mothers. I get it, moms. At the end of the day, you want to protect your child as much as possible. And you think you're doing them a service shielding them from all the craziness, the madness that's going on in the world. Because hell, the craziness and madness that's going on in the world, it'll drive you freaking crazy. I get it. But trying to shield them from it is doing them a is detrimental to that child's growth, because
Mhm.
once they get exposed to it, they are not going to know how to handle it. Just think about if you have a daughter who you shield in the house, don't let them go out, don't let them talk to boys, don't do this, don't do that. The minute they go away to college or they get away from you, they are done.
What's the
Mhm.
statistics?
They're not going to know how to
What are
function.
the virgin statistics in college? Do you still have those?
I think it was like
Yeah,
12 or 14%.
12%. Yeah, 12% of women that leave college are still virgins. So that means that the
12%.
other 82% done got their rocks off.
And what about the boys?
I don't I think the boys it was like 14% or 15%. I don't remember what the numbers were.
Hmm.
That's harder than I thought it was
But
going to be.
but the thing is though, what women have to understand is getting intimate, and I'm saying that word because there are some virgin ears like kind of close by,
Where
so to
at?
speak. Not
On
literally close by, but y'all get what I'm
okay,
saying.
I
Um,
got you.
getting getting your rocks off is more harmful to a woman than a guy, because at the end of the day, no matter how you slice it, no matter what you say about childbirth, that's the hardest thing that one of the hardest things that you as a woman have to go through. And there's been reports of women losing their lives going through this. And on top of that, the struggles that also come with raising a child and not being ready for it and don't even know if this person is going to be, you know, ride with you on this journey for being a parent. And I get it. We could argue, say, well, the guy, he's supposed to be responsible, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. But if the person literally tells you, yo, if you get pregnant, I want no parts of this. Why would you go and turn around and still get intimate with this person?
Oh, I
He's
agree
literally
wholeheartedly.
he's literally telling you, yo, if you do, I don't want this. I don't want this. That's like a woman telling me, yo, you lose your job, I'm out the door. I'm out the door. Then why the heck am I gonna stick around for? Why am I gonna waste my time and invest if I know I lose my job, you're gone? That makes absolutely no sense to me. And that's why women, we need like mothers. I like I said, I'll say it again. I understand you want to protect them and shield them because I mean that's a part of you. They came out of you, carried them for 9 months. I understand it. But it's better to prepare them. Don't shield them. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell them about the mistakes you made. You as a 304, tell them, yo, I did XYZ and I regret it. I don't want you to go down that same path. I'm telling you this for a reason because it made life harder for me. Yeah, I'm doing well now, but it wasn't always like this. What is
Mhm.
wrong with saying that? Nothing that you tell that child is going to make that child look at you differently. Absolutely nothing. They are going to respect you as their parent no matter what. In their mind, you can do no wrong. And if anything, they will try and make sure they don't put themselves in that position. Try not to fail you, try to make you proud of their accomplishments, and they'll know how to exit when said issues show up.
You just said something that's very important. The child looks at their mother like they can do no wrong. Well, I think that is the problem. They don't. Your mother can't do no wrong, right? So
Mhm.
once I realized my mother was fallible, like on a large scale, everything she said her words stopped holding weight
Mhm.
because I start watching her lie through her teeth or try to avoid the hard truths and try to dismiss what I'm trying to like. I mom. I used to say this to my mother all the time, and I love her to death. But I used to say this to her all the time. I say, "Ma, tell somebody that didn't grow up with you. I grew up with you." So I
Mhm.
know what you do. I know how you operate. I know how you argue and stuff like that.
Let
So
me
she's
ask
a different woman now, but back
mhm.
then it was hard to get her to admit to anything that
Let
she
me
did
ask you
wrong.
this, Gary. If she would have opened up to you and kept it 100 and told you the truth, would you have looked at her differently and accepted her with all her
Absolutely. Then she
flaws?
really could do no wrong because this woman is willing to be open to
Exactly.
me and tell and make sure that I
Exactly.
don't make the same mistakes that she made. Right. So I'm like, damn, like, oh, I will look at her in a completely different way. Then I would have, I look
Yeah.
at her that
Yeah.
way now, but
Yeah.
that's because she's matured. Right. So,
Mhm.
um, my thing is like, don't stunt your children by not telling them your mistakes. You know your mistakes, man. I think a lot of women just don't want to admit them because it's painful to admit mistakes. Yeah, it's painful for me to admit mistakes.
Mhm.
But if I want to live
Mhm.
my life the way I want to live my life, I'm going to have to accept my mistakes and grow from them. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Success is one failure away. That's success. It's one failure away. You have to fail your way to the top. All right. I made that mistake. I'm not going to do that again. All right. All right. So that didn't work. How about this? That didn't work. How about this? That didn't work. The big thing that I tell my children all the time, if you're going to go and you're going to get your heart broke, you're supposed to. You're going to go out there and break some hearts. You're supposed to. You're
Mhm.
going to go out
Mhm.
there and make some dumb decisions. You're going to lose jobs. You're going to do all that stuff is going to happen. As long as you don't cripple your life by getting the wrong woman pregnant or moving the wrong woman into your home, you'll be able to get through it all. Those are the two things you do not want to make the mistake with. And if my daughter was around, I would say, don't. I would tell them the same thing. Don't let
Mhm.
a man, a person get you pregnant who's not willing to be around with that kid. Do not be unequally yoked with that dude because
Mhm.
if stuff gets too hard and he step off, I'm not coming looking for him. I'm coming looking for you
Yep.
because you're my daughter, not him. I don't care what
Mhm.
he does. I'm coming to you, and I'm going to ask you, what made you make that silly mistake? I'm gonna
Mhm.
look you dead in your eye, and I'm gonna tell you what made you see you see the path of women who have made the same mistake over and over and over and over and over and over again. You made this mistake because you wanted to be foolish. It's all on you. You can't blame that dude. You you saw the pattern for years. But he said, yeah, how many women did he say that to?
Hmm.
You see the pattern. Well, I thought he was different. Yeah, how many women said that?
Yep.
Like at some point, you're gonna have to wake up from this illusion. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he was saying sweet nothings, and I believed him and all that stuff. I get all that. This is why you have to fess up to your mistake.
Hmm.
You chose to believe that guy. You chose to lay down and open your legs. You chose to do that. There was one surefire way to make sure that he was concrete, and that is saying, I do. Did you say that? No, then I don't have nothing for you. This was a mistake you made. There's a great way to fix that. You did not take that option. Yeah,
Hmm.
but if I didn't, he wanted what? He would have what? He would have left. Then let him leave. He wasn't worthy of you in the
Facts.
first place.
Yep.
Like, why?
Yep.
What do you like? Come on, like
And,
at
and
some point, you got to take responsibility for this.
I was just
When
about
there
to
is a
say that.
dad, it's
Thank you,
way
Scoop.
harder
I was
for
just
us
about
to.
to say that.
Mhm.
And that's
I
the
was
difference when
Yeah,
having that dad in the picture. That's it.
yep. Yep. And let me just say this one point, and then ladies, y'all could give y'all final thoughts before we wrap this up. Gary, that one part that you said about if he basically gives you an ultimatum and he says, I'm gonna leave, once you cave into that ultimatum, that man will always use that tactic to get whatever he wants out of you
because he know he can.
because he
Mhm.
knows you're weak minded and he knows he can use your feelings against you. Anytime a man use that ultimatum, leave
Yep.
because he is not in your best interest. He's about thinking for self and he knows he got you wrapped around his fingers. Floor is yours, lady.
okay. I I'm gonna say something similar. I feel like on a whole, women do have to pay attention to what they're doing. You do have women that have the same pattern. They've dated the same type of dude for 10 and 15 years. They cry about being single. They cry about everything that if you made different choices, you would have different results. The problem for me is that's insanity. If you keep doing the same thing. So, my biggest thing is yes, you work on yourself. You make sure that you're not looking for the same person in everybody because that's the thing. You start listening to, hey, what went wrong? Okay. Oh, you don't know what wrong. Okay. So you don't know what went wrong. You don't know why you gravitated to those types of people. You also don't know why you keep making the same mistakes. And I think that's the biggest issue. A lot of times, some of these women are not holding themselves accountable for their actions. You can't always play the I was young and dumb card. You can't because it gets old after a while. The first time, I could give you that. You start doing that 2 and 3 times over, you're not getting the same results from it either. Because if you're calling me every 6 months to a year with the same sob story, I know if I'm already over it, everybody around you is probably over it too. So at that point, it's work on yourself, start figuring out how do you break those cycles and just do better. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to progressively move on. It's either change your surroundings, change the people that you talk to. Shoot, maybe you need to change your own self. Because if everybody's telling you you're the problem, then it might be you need to change how you think.
Mm, yep. I just, I think for me it's and I agree with that. The biggest thing I think that women, overall we hope we hold the key, right? Is nothing's going down unless we say yes. As far as children are concerned, and so you know, unless the man's a maniac, nobody's going to pin you down and make you have his baby. So at the end of the day, we hold the key to that. And I think that the women, we're the heartbeat of the family. We're we're the wise woman. She builds the house, and if you're a fool, you're the one that's going to tear up your house. At the end of the day, whether it's you're a single parent mother or whether you're a wife, at the end of the day, if you have to, I'm big on that. Get in the ring and fight you. Deal with you. Because at the end of the day, everybody around you is going to have to deal with the repercussions of either you telling yourself a constant lie or you finally telling yourself the truth. Is at some point you got to get real. Is nothing
Mhm.
really changes until we get real with ourselves. So that's what I think about that for single mothers, or if you're a wife, at the end of the day, the children are the ones that have to suffer either for your negligence or your delusion or your honesty.
Agreed. Mr. Lamb, do you want to sign us off?
Yes, sir. Well, that was a wonderful live. I truly
It
appreciate
was.
you guys from coming through. Erica
Wait,
stumped me with
wait.
the whole daggone the argument about the men. I was like, all right, so I'm gonna shut up. I'm going ahead and get some research because I don't really have enough research to go on that one. But I was
But you
stumped. I
know
was
what?
like,
I I was loving the back and forth.
yeah,
Like
I was stumped on that.
I
I was
was
like,
loving it.
damn, dude, wait, I don't have the full because I remember I did research this back in the day, and I know that she's full of shit, but I just don't have the I don't have the data to make sure she. Hey, this is hey, I had no, you had your last, you had your last. You don't get to talk. This is my last.
I
All
do
right.
get to talk.
No, you don't. No, you
You
don't.
keep forgetting I used to be a
No,
Look,
collector.
that,
I used
we're
to be a
trying to
bill collector. You forgot
no,
that.
no, I didn't forget that. I didn't forget that. You listen, keep in mind, being you when you're a collector, you deal with a lot of broke people. You don't deal
Mhm.
with people with finances,
Oh no, no,
with
no.
good money.
Oh no, no, no. I was a high collector. I wasn't collecting on broke people. I
All
had a
right,
nice
fine.
I had a nice telephone voice. You
Look,
talking
look.
black card status.
Point
Can we
is
move
that
past this?
look, look, you're wrong, damn it, and I know you're wrong. Okay, I just don't got the data to show it. Anyway, what was I saying before I
Wait,
was really
I just
interrupted
got
by
one
that
more
woman?
question for you, Gary too. Did I uplift you? Did this conversation uplift you today? Did it put
No,
you in a better mood?
no, it didn't. It didn't. I'm
Oh
being
my
honest.
gosh, I can't win. I can't win. All
No,
right, go
you
ahead.
asked me. I'm being honest. It
I
didn't.
know, I know,
It
I
didn't.
know. It wasn't the
It
answer I wanted to hear.
of
It's
course it
me.
was.
It's
I'm
not you.
sorry.
It's
I
not
mean,
you. It's me.
do I
Man, you
appreciate
could have
having the
lied to
live?
me, brother.
Absolutely.
Like
I do
you
appreciate
could
having
have.
the live, and you know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody at the Rumble. I do appreciate having the live. The issue is just, the conversation is just it's very difficult to keep going with it. I want to see black women and black men get our stuff together. I really, really do.
Mhm,
But it's tough, right? It's tough to do because we got so much work to do, right? We 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 gotta start. We gotta open up our black banks, and that's I don't see how we're going to be able to pull
yes.
that off. Before we do that, before we do anything to fix anything, we have to be able to give our women something to work with. We don't have that yet. You know what I'm saying? So all these conversations are going to fall on deaf ears because we don't have an education system to give them. We don't have a bank account that we can give them. We don't have a credit card to give them. We don't have none of that stuff. They have to go to other sources to get that because we're in the same boat, right? So it's really hard to get our women on our side when we don't have anything to snare them with. Hey guys, we're doing just as good as the other people over here. They will start migrating to that. It's not like they won't. I do truly believe they will. Unfortunately, we don't have those institutions set into place. So it's really hard to have this conversation. And I'm like, yo, we make $1.6 trillion. We command $1.6 trillion. Black people. 1.6 trillion with a T dollars. All right. That's our spending slash buying power. Okay. We have the money. We just don't have the infrastructure to pull that money into it so we can fix some of this problem. We don't have a making money problem. We have a keeping money problem. All right.
Mhm,
And I think if we fix that, then everything will start running into place, because let's be honest, you know what I'm saying? The white man can get our woman to shut up because they got a check to give them. You know what I'm saying? Like they do it all the damn time. So if and I remember having this conversation years ago with an associate of mine. He said we're gonna have to buy our women back, and I said I agree. We got to buy them back. If we want our women back, we're gonna have to purchase them with a price. You know what I mean? And I understand that and I respect that. But it's gotten to a point where it's like it might just be cheaper to get another chick. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, and that's where I think is Erica frozen.
No,
No.
Oh, you
I'm
was
listening to you.
Oh, okay. But you look frozen to me. But yeah, if we can get to a point where we can stop all this foolishness, stop arguing, stop complaining about this, that, and the third, and actually see eye to eye, that'd be something different. But the information is coming from us. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. It's coming from us, and they don't like to hear it coming from us. Why would they? Right? Ever since as long as we can remember, we have never had anything to give them. So it's like
Mhm.
it's tough, man. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't have much to give them other than that big house that really is not our big house, or that nice flashy car which is really not our flashy car, and give them a stack of paper money, which is not really our money. So it's like all that stuff is like we're still using the system of this country to fund out women. They can just go out there and source and bypass.
You sound muffled like woo 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 right now.
I did
Yeah, you sound muffled.
the whole time.
Not the whole time, but like the last 5 seconds of what you were saying.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Yeah,
said,
there.
but that's what I
Now,
think. If we can just get our stuff together when it comes down to that, maybe our women will come back, in my opinion. And that's it.
agreed, man, agreed. I'm still mad because you could have lied to me. You could have lied to me and said, I made you
I
feel
don't
bad.
like doing that kind of stuff.
Well, look, I want the lie, damn it, all right?
Oh, then I had an amazing time, and
there we go.
I feel so much better, and I think I'm going to do a good job today, and all that other good stuff.
Thank you, brother. See, that's
just
my
wanna make
boy
you feel
right
better,
there.
man. I just wanna
That's
make you
my
feel
boy right there. That's
I
my
got
boy.
your back, dog. I got your back.
Well, I'm gonna steal my boy Gary Lamb's line. It's your boy Walls P signing out. Appreciate you guys for tuning into the live. Shout out to the Rewatch crew. Shout out to everybody on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube. Hey, we love you guys. Thanks for tuning into this Saturday Live. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you was also entertained, but these are the conversations that we need to have. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 6 a.m. for our AM Grinding Grit Show, and every Saturday at 10 p.m. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.